Today, we turn to Capitol Hill, where a tense exchange unfolded during the Pete Hegseth hearing, capturing the growing friction between lawmakers and top defense officials.
Now recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Bale.
Mr. Secretary, unlike my colleague down the dais, I don't feel sorry for you. I visited with soldiers in war zones whose life is on the line, so a few tough questions. I think you'll be okay. And so my first question is, are you authorized to disclose intelligence that would put our troops in harm's way to our enemies?
Well, I reject the premise of the
just saying,
question.
Just as a hypothetical, are you authorized to do that?
I have not and do not.
Exactly, and I assume that. So when you told our ranking member that everything that you say is authorized, that wasn't completely accurate, correct?
What I said is that every way that I communicate is authorized.
No, you actually said everything that you said is authorized. I wrote it down. Now, with that said, and the reason I bring that up is because it's about accountability. And we're talking about this war ethos. The primary component of that is accountability. And I'm going to indulge me in a quick analogy. Republicans introduced a bill on the House floor a few days ago, a resolution standing against terror, racism, hate, anti-Semitism, which as an American, as a black man, I'm going to stand against those things 6 times a week, twice on Sunday. Now, the nefarious part was there was a line that was stuck at the end of that resolution that essentially gave a shout out to law enforcement, which I do support, but also to ICE, which right now, a lot of Americans have a problem with the way ICE is being deployed. And I'm not happy with what they're doing, nor do I want to shout them out for that. And so accountability was, I didn't duck from the question. I went and I talked to my constituents. I went on social media. I did interviews to explain exactly where I stood, that I stand against hate. I stand against racism. I stand against anti-Semitism. And I hate that that line was stuck in there. That's accountability. So when we're asking you these questions and you're ducking and you're not answering them directly, that's not a culture of a war. What was the term? A war ethos, a warrior ethos. I'm looking at members who serve, and they're taking their lead from you. That starts with you. And if we have troops who are in war zones and they're watching while they're risking their lives, and you can't just answer some tough questions, what kind of culture is that setting? So, as a prosecutor, when I think about what's happening in California and around the country with ICE, it's not only dangerous and unconstitutional, but it raises serious public safety concerns because we have people with masks that are going around saying that they're ICE, and we've had reports of that, saying that they're ICE and committing crimes. And that's a big problem. But it gets me back to the point of the accountability piece. So, for example, do you believe quality military housing is important? Yes or no? And just keep your mic on for time because I don't only have a minute left.
Our budget commits to robust military housing and barracks.
Do you believe military children deserve a strong education?
Our budget funds strong education, and we hope more educational choices for military.
Love it. Is it a priority to provide real, reliable care to our veterans?
Of course.
So, Mr. Secretary, we have a problem here because your answers don't match your budget priorities. You said your mission is to restore this warrior ethos and that threats we face are serious, but so must our investments. So when we think of, for example, a $45 million parade, I can think of 45 million things we could do more effectively with $45 million than a parade, such as the things that I mentioned. Military housing, military children's education, providing reliable care for our veterans. All of these things would be higher on the priority than a parade. And so the parade, and when we talk about showing strength, we're not talking about theater. We're not talking about showmanship. We're talking about things that actually make our military more lethal, and keeps us safer. And so what I'm saying is that in my limited time left is accountability does matter, and this body cares about what our military is doing, because we care about national security, and we all take it very seriously.
Gentleman's time has expired.
The moment came when Congressman Bale of Missouri used his 5 minutes not simply to question the secretary, but to challenge the very culture of accountability inside the Defense Department. If you appreciate deep breakdowns like this, remember to subscribe so you never miss an analysis like this one. The confrontation began with Congressman Bale contrasting his own experiences in war zones with what he saw as the secretary's reluctance to answer direct questions. Bale opened with a pointed hypothetical, asking whether the secretary is authorized to disclose intelligence that could put troops at risk. It was a setup, but it was designed to probe the secretary's definition of accountability. When the secretary rejected the premise, Bale reminded him that in a previous exchange, the secretary claimed everything he says is authorized. Bale insisted that this was not accurate and that such inconsistencies matter. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit subscribe so we can keep bringing clarity to the toughest hearings on the Hill. Bale then shifted into a broader lesson on leadership accountability, one that went beyond partisanship. He referenced a recent House resolution condemning terror, racism, hate, and anti-Semitism. As he explained, he fully supported those principles as an American and as a black man. But he drew attention to a last-minute addition in the resolution, praising law enforcement and ICE, an agency many Americans feel is being weaponized or misused, depending on the administration. Instead of quietly voting without explanation, Bale said he went back to his constituents, went on social media, and gave interviews to clarify his stance. His point was simple: leadership requires owning your position, even when it is uncomfortable. If these deep dives add value to your understanding of Congress, subscribe now so you stay informed as these stories develop. But Bale's underlying message was aimed squarely at the secretary. He suggested that troops on the ground, risking their lives without hesitation, expect straight answers from their leaders. The congressman argued that dodging and deflecting cultivates a weakened warrior ethos. In other words, culture flows downhill. If those at the top cannot give clear answers under pressure, what example does that set for those who face real danger every day? This exchange is a reminder that congressional hearings are not just about budgets or policies. They are often attempts to shape the public's expectations about leadership, integrity, and national priorities. And if you are appreciating the context behind these political moments, remember to subscribe for more thoughtful analysis. The congressman closed by pressing the secretary on tangible quality of life issues for service members. Did the secretary believe military housing matters? Did he believe military children deserve access to strong education? These questions were not random. They were a subtle attempt to show a contrast between the department's stated values and its perceived reluctance to acknowledge shortcomings. Bale wanted to remind viewers that accountability is not an abstract concept. It is tied to the day-to-day lives of the people who serve, from their housing to their families to their safety in the field. This hearing, like so many others, revealed more than the back and forth on the surface. It exposed a fundamental debate about trust in institutions, transparency from leaders, and whether our words match the standards we expect from the men and women in uniform. If you want more in-depth reporting that goes beyond the clips and helps you understand the bigger picture, take a moment now to subscribe. It helps support the channel and ensures you never miss the stories that matter most. If you'd like, I can also create a YouTube title, thumbnail hook, description, hashtags, or a short script for TikTok or Reels.